Hey guys, and welcome to our virtual lesson for today. I know things aren't ideal. I know things aren't how we want them to be right now. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. But I just want to say that I miss y'all and I love y'all, and I hope that y'all are doing good because there's a lot of craziness out there right now. So keep your heads down, do your schoolwork, uh, and continue to just kind of pray for our country right now because there's a lot of stuff going on that is just absolutely crazy. But that's not why we're here. That's not what we're here to talk about. We can talk about that later. Um, Today we're here because we are talking about this world that we live in right now and some things that you guys could probably do to make things go a little bit better. And to kind of stand out, I guess, in this time where, there is absolutely nothing going on. And I've been praying for you guys. I've been thinking about you guys a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff being taken away. The springtime is busy, especially for you seniors, especially for you athletes, drama kids, band kids. I know it's a busy time of year, and it's really hard to see all year in the fall, all summer, and look forward to the spring. And now there is no spring, and it seems like things have kind of just been taken away from you. Um, and that's really hard, and I know it's really hard. So keep your heads up. Good things will come. You just have to trust in the Lord and continue to pray and continue to pursue Him in this time, because it's very easy to start pointing the finger up when things don't go exactly how you want them or when things go hard. But you got to just keep your head down and just keep pushing on. So the next thing I wanted to bring up was that it's still Lent. So I'm curious as to how your guys' Lent stuff is going on. After this video, you guys will have already been told, but we're going to be doing a little conference thing. So we're going to do a Lent checkup and see how everybody's doing on their Lenten obligations and the things that they said they were going to do. I don't have them written down. That was something that I made y'all do on your own privately, whether you gave something up or you didn't give something up. But yeah, so we're gonna do a little checkup on that, because it is still the season of Lent. Lent is not done. We might not have church in the conventional sense, but we are still going to have church. We are still going to pursue God. We're still going to sing. We're still going to listen to a message. We're still going to do things because God never stops. Whether it's good or bad or indifferent, whatever's going on right now, God's hand is in everything. And He's not here to hurt us. He's only here to lift us up. And if you feel lost or you feel indifferent about how things are going, then I suggest that you pick this thing up and start reading, because it's a great tool, man. It is great. Like we said, when you're tested, everything that you've put in, right? When your buttons get pushed, whatever you pour into yourself is what's going to pour out. So I hope that love and understanding and, just all these good things are pouring out of y'all right now, because it's a really hard time. And it's like that for everyone, everywhere. And there's just this craziness going around in the world right now. And we've got to make sure that we keep a level head. And to say that, we're going to start our lesson by looking at a passage from Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 1, verse 5 is talking about Habakkuk's first prayer. And, Habakkuk calls out to the Lord saying, how long do I have to wait for an answer? How long do I have to wait? And God's answer to Habakkuk says, look at the nations and observe, be utterly astounded, for I am doing something in your days that you will not believe when you hear about it. So, Habakkuk is calling, he's calling about different stuff. It's not, the coronavirus or the plague or anything, but he's talking about violence and injustice and oppression and all these other things. And he calls out to God, why won't you stop it? Why won't you stop it? And God's like, well, maybe you should look around to some of the things that I have been doing, because it might not be the things that you want or the things that you immediately see that need attention. Doesn't mean that something hasn't been done about it. So throughout all this stuff of things shutting down, find some good. There will be some good. It just is dependent on how you choose to look at it. Now, and trust me, I've had stuff planned that is now canceled. I've had, trips planned that are now canceled. There's things that, I was really looking forward to this spring. A lot of it had to do with you guys. But that can't, that's not, that's, it's canceled for now, unless something, excuse me, unless something miraculously happens. And I'm okay with that, because I know that everything is done for a reason. Everything's done for a purpose. I'm trying to make the best of my time while all this is going on. And it's just something we have to live with and deal with. So it's not easy, but it's something. And it's something we can all kind of strive to do. So sometimes, though, it feels like, we may be punished, or, something's being done for something that we did. And it's really hard to feel that way. It's really hard to try to change that way once you feel that way. But sometimes we just have to realize, like, maybe God isn't trying to teach us something sometimes, but maybe he's trying to use us to teach something. And that's a really hard lesson to learn, because sometimes it feels like we might not be somewhere where we want to be. And it might feel like we're not getting, or we're not being taught something. We're not seeing something. But in the grand scheme of things, it's just that, God is using us as a teaching tool for someone else, as an example. And it's hard sometimes to figure out who to put your trust into when you don't know if you're the teacher or you're being taught. Because you might turn somewhere and choose a door, choose a path, and where you thought you were being taught something, and you ended up being the teacher, and you're like, oh, okay, like, I don't know how this is going. I don't know how this is supposed to go, but I'm here now, and it's different than what I had expected. So let's make the best of it, or, you just got to go in with a different mentality. Jeremiah chapter 17 says that, cursed is the person who trusts in mankind. He makes human flesh his strength, and his heart turns from the Lord. He will be like a juniper in the Arabah. He cannot see when good comes, but dwells in the parched places in the wilderness. In a sand land where no one lives, the person who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence indeed is the Lord, is blessed. He will be like a tree planted by water. It sends its roots out toward a stream, and it doesn't fear when the heat comes, and its foliage remains green. It will not worry in a year of drought or cease producing fruit. So in this passage from Jeremiah, okay, it's talking about people who put their trust in solely in mankind. That's not to say, like, hey, do you trust your dad? Of course you should trust your dad. Do you trust your parents? Yes. Do you trust your family? Do you trust your friends? Those are people that you should trust. But if that's the only people that you put your trust in, okay, there's a difference, right? So, like, right now, like, I'm wholeheartedly trusting, when, medical professionals are like, maybe you should stay home, right? Like, this might not be serious for people our age or our demographic, but it's the risk of, hey, if we just deal with it for 2 weeks, maybe it'll get better and we can go back to living our lives, right? So, like, I'm trusting in their opinion, in their professional opinion, to do that. But in the grand scheme of things, I've been doing more praying than I have been reading about what medical professionals say. I've been singing more hymns. I've been singing more songs. I've been, doing stuff like that, because that's the stuff that we need to do during this time. It's funny, everyone sees the meme of, like, I wasn't expecting to give up this much for Lent. And it's true. We weren't expecting to give up what we've had to give up. We weren't expecting to give up things in the way that we did, right? But that comes back to, who do you put your trust in, right? Are you going to trust that this is all done for a higher purpose? Are you trusting that this is done for a reason and that God has a plan for all of this? Or are you putting your trust into mankind, that God, man, maybe people weren't crazy this time and there's actually toilet paper at Walmart, or maybe, XYZ, whatever it may be. But you guys got to remember that in the good times, we might be blinded by our own image and our own trust, because what one person sees is not good might be good to someone else. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. People are being affected in this in so many ways. People are losing their jobs. People are, not being able to make money, not being able to provide for their family. But there's so much good going on, even just to hear equipment, that if you focus solely on the bad and you talk about what you don't have, and you're not thankful for the things that you do have, and you're not observant to the things that are good going around right now, have you missed the point of this? Have you missed what God is trying to teach you? So yeah, I mean, like, I know for a fact that, like, if you would have told me when I was in high school that we would spend an entire semester at home learning online in my underwear, I would have been pretty excited, because it, I didn't expect it to be on this kind of scale, right? I wouldn't have expected it to be because of some illness or some, new age plague that was going around. But, I would have been pretty excited about it. But it's different now. It's the circumstances under which that it's come that make it different. And it's the circumstances under which we keep ourselves and the way that we view things that can change the way that this goes. The way that we approach things is the way that we should think about it and talk about it and pray about it. And one of those things, it says right here, it says that he will be like a juniper in the Arabah. He cannot see when good comes, but dwells in the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land where no one lives. Because the person who trusts in the Lord and whose confidence indeed is the Lord is blessed. He will be like a tree planted by water. It sends its roots out toward a stream, and it doesn't fear. And when heat comes and its foliage remains green, he will not worry in a year of drought or cease producing fruit. Look, guys, we've talked about this plenty of times. We were given gifts. We were given, the gifts of the fruits of the Spirit. We were given spiritual gifts. We all have something that was given to us, whether it be teaching, preaching, praying, worship, whatever it is. We all have gifts that are unique to us, that have been given to us by God. And the more thankful we are, no matter what the situation is, the more that our gifts get to shine. And the more we get to see what our gifts may be. We may have new gifts that no one has seen, or we may have gifts that we ourselves might not know that we have because of a situation like this, where we get the opportunity to use something new or do something new. And I see that as a great opportunity to continue to love and preach and pass along the good that has happened, right? And to close off, guys, we're going back to Paul in the Romans, right? And this is part of that, shining your gifts and knowing what your gifts are and being thankful, because you may be the strength that someone else needs, right? And I'm not talking about your friends. It may be someone you don't know. It could be your friends, or it could be your parents right now, man. Because there's so much going on. And if your parents are still working, or your parents, whatever it is, whatever situation, I pray that everything's going good. But sometimes there's people who have, a different situation. And if you can be that light to your parents by just saying, hey, at least we have our time as a family together. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can find a way to do this, but pick each other up, lift each other up, put that arm underneath them, lift them up, love them, and show them grace and love and kindness, and try to stay away from all the negativity that's out there right now, because that's such a silent killer. That's such a thing that we don't realize seeps into us. But that's definitely not God. God is not ever going to do something that challenges us in a way that we abandon him. And he's never going to ask us to do something that isn't the right thing. He's never going to ask us to do something that isn't a good thing, because that's not who he is. That's not his role in our lives. We've established that plenty of times before, that he's a God of mercy, a God of love, and yet God is love. And if we start thinking that he isn't, then that's when we start falling ourselves for the same trick that Eve fell for in the Garden of Eden. And so we come to Romans chapter 15, and Paul writes that now we who are strong have an obligation to bear the weakness of those without strength, and not to please ourselves. Each one of us is to please his neighbor for his good and to build him up. For even Christ did not please himself. On the contrary, as it is written, the insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. For whatever was written in the past was written for our instruction, so that we may have hope through an endurance and through the encouragement from the Scriptures. Now may the God who gives endurance and encouragement grant you to live in harmony with one another according to Christ Jesus, so that you may glorify the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ with one mind and one voice. That's a crazy passage when you think about it, that Paul is writing and saying, look, those of us who are strong in our faith, those of us who are strong physically, those of us who are strong emotionally, whatever you're strong in, okay, in a time like this, or just in a time like Paul is dealing with the Romans, it is our responsibility to let our strengths complement the weaknesses of those who might need it. That those who have strengths that are our weaknesses, we have to understand that they're going to pick us up, or they need to pick us up. You know, if you have a friend who's terrible at communicating or texting, and you're great at keeping up with things, and you're great at checking in, and you're great at following, keep hammering them with text. Because I promise you, I'm bad about texting friends back. I'm bad about knowing and like checking, and I'll like read it and then I'll go back to it, but I'll forget, and then I won't send a text, and then it turns into a phone call, and it's just bad. Because you get wrapped up in things sometimes. But that's a weakness that I have. But I'm very good at calling back eventually. So like that's my like strength, is that no matter, like I have friends who I could call once and they'll be like, I'll call you back, but they never call me back. And you know, and that's a so stupid reference, but it's something that's true. And there's a weakness and a strength that we all have, and there's a weakness and a strength that we can all help. And Paul says it perfectly, that, you know, even Christ did not please himself, right? This isn't a time to make ourselves happy. It's sad to say that, but it's true. In this time that we have right now, it's not to make us happy. Maybe we're all trying to be taught something. Maybe we're all trying to learn something. Maybe we're trying to, God is just giving the world a pause. And that's such a crazy thing to say. But maybe that's what this is God is saying, look, you guys need a timeout. You guys need to pause, and you guys need to reflect, because everything in this world is standing still right now. And I hate to tell you this, but I don't think that was done by man. It's very hard to say that would have been done by man without a little bit of God influence. And what is he trying to teach us? Right? And even if this was man's doing, okay, everything works, right? Man works according to God's purpose, according to God's good purpose. Right? He's never going to lead us astray. He's never going to lead us down a path that leads to death or destruction or pain or hurt. So where is he taking us? And what is the end goal? Because if Christ didn't please himself and we're called to be Christ-like, who are we trying to help? Who are we trying to please? Oh, I almost sneezed. There you go, guys. That's a real blooper for you. Right? And we need to look back on the things that we've been given. And we need to look back on the things that have been said. Because even right here, it says, for whatever was written in the past was written for our instruction, so that we may have hope through endurance and through the encouragement from the Scriptures. Guys, this passage right here in Romans, it's Romans 15 verses 1 through 6, is incredible for what is going on right now. right? Like, I could sit here and talk about, the plague is being gone out or whatever it is that's going on, but I don't think the world is ending. I think God is testing us. I think God is giving us a chance to, right? Because even in school, right, you take 6 weeks and you learn, and then you take a test to make sure that you know what you're talking about that was covered in that section, right? And it says that now may the God who gives endurance and encouragement grant you to live in harmony with one another according to Christ Jesus. Well, there's a lot of people living together right now. There's a lot of people who aren't able to go out and do things. There are a lot of people who have to stay home. There's a lot of people who have to change the way that they live. They can't avoid that awkward conversation in the hallway at their apartment complex. They can't avoid that conversation when they're doing laundry. They can't avoid that conversation with their husband or their wife that they've been putting off because they haven't had time, right? There's a lot of things going on, but we've been given instructions, right? But I want you to look at how this passage ends, right? Romans 15, verse 6 says, so that you may glorify the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ with one mind and one voice. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in this world and in the Methodist Church. A lot of stuff. And I know a lot of you guys probably don't know, or you have been told or whatnot, but take this time to kind of research it and look into it and think about it, because that's what we're trying to do, right? That's what it's about, is one mind, one voice, right? One love, and it's all for God, right? We have a history, right? And a thing that will help us and guide us along the way. But we have to remember that we can't put our trust solely in mankind, right? And that God is doing something for a reason. But we also need to pick up the slack for those who might need us right now, and be that light and be that person that they can lean on, that they can come to, but also know that it's okay to lean on people in this time of need right now. And it's a really hard time, but it's going to be okay. Okay? And I know that if you guys have anything that you need to talk about, you hit me up, right? If you need to just talk, if you want to chat, if you want to hang out, right? Play Xbox, whatever it is at this time, right? If there's something that you need, let me know. If there's something that you need to pray about, call me. We'll pray about it. If there's something that you have a question about, call me. We'll talk about it, right? My job is to take care of you guys, and I miss you guys. I want you guys to know how hard this has been. It sucks, right? We had so much stuff planned out. There's so much stuff going on, and now it's just gone. And it is hard. And pray for your teachers. Pray for those of us who, work with you guys, all the other youth directors in town. Pray for your coaches. Pray for your administration. Pray for everybody that is involved in this right now, because there are some of us who get to see you every day, or there's some of us who get to see you frequently, and we miss you guys, and we love you guys, and we want what's best for you guys. And so please don't be afraid to reach out, okay? I promise you, there's nothing going on right now. If you want to just have a silly text conversation, text me. If you want to call, if you want to make a prank call, I don't care. Have fun with it, guys. But don't stop remembering that there is a light that needs to be shined in this world. There's a light that we don't know we might have. So we have to continue to pursue God, continue to love God, and continue to pray that everything is going to work out for His purpose, because it is, whether we like it or not, whatever His purpose is. And one day we'll be able to see that. And wouldn't it be great if the day He came, or the day that you end up there, God was like, you know what? Do you remember when this happened? This is the good that you did. So think about it like that. You want to be the person that does the good, right? Not for recognition, not for love, but because it was the right thing to do. Because you were picking up the slack of someone else, and you were a light to them in this very, very dark time. So be the light, shine the light, and pass the light, because that's what we need right now. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.